Something big is coming up really soon, and if you don't know what it is, I'll give you a hint. Just think of the 5 pillars of Islam. That's right, I'm talking about Hajj. And in this video, we'll be talking about some of the basics of Hajj, and also I'll answer the question that many people might be wondering to themselves, and that is, why do Muslims sacrifice animals during this pilgrimage? Watch this video to find out.
كتاب الله دستوري وخير الخلق أسوتنا.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope you're all doing well, inshallah. So I'm gonna get right into it. Hajj, as I said in the beginning of the video, is one of the 5 pillars of Islam, and specifically it is the 5th pillar of Islam. It is a pilgrimage that every single Muslim must do as long as they are physically, mentally, and financially able to do so. Now, once you have those conditions met, and you are a Muslim, it becomes an obligation upon you to perform this holy pilgrimage. Many people might be asking themselves, what is Hajj in the first place? Hajj is a series of rituals which commemorate the sacrifices of Ibrahim alayhi salam, his son Ismail alayhi salam, both of them prophets of Islam, and also the wife of Ibrahim, Hajar alayhi salam. And I'll talk a little bit about their sacrifice throughout the video, inshallah. But to begin, we'll start with the very first steps of Hajj, and that is the dressing of Ihram. Now, if you've seen any videos or pictures of what the pilgrimage of Hajj looks like, you'll see millions of Muslims from all over the world in Mecca. But one thing that you'll see that's similar for every single person is the way they dress. Everybody is wearing 2 pieces of white unstitched cloth. No brand names, no special tags, nothing. Everyone is dressed in an equal fashion. And the beauty of this is that it doesn't matter if you're a billionaire, and it doesn't matter if you're living from paycheck to paycheck. For Hajj, there is no status. Everyone is equal in the sight of Allah Azza wa Jal. You can look to your right, you can look to your left. It doesn't matter what you see or who you see. You're not going to see anyone that looks any better than you are. And at the end of the day, only God can judge who's better than anyone else. Going on from here, once you have the Ihram put on, you make your way to Mecca, and specifically to the Kaaba. And on your way to the Kaaba, you're reciting a beautiful chant. لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك. Here I am, my Lord, here I am. Here I am, my Lord. There is no Lord other than you. Here I am. Once you reach the Kaaba, this is where one of the most iconic actions of Hajj begins, and that is Tawaf. Tawaf is when the Muslims gather around the Kaaba and start walking around the Kaaba 7 times. While doing so, every time they reach the corner which has the black stone on the Kaaba, and the black stone, for those who don't know, is actually a stone that was sent from the heavens to the earth to complete the building of the Kaaba. Whenever they reach that corner, the Muslim is supposed to point at it, or if they're close enough, they are to touch the stone. Another very iconic action of Hajj is Sa'i, which is the running between Safa and Marwa, which are 2 hills found in the plains of Mecca. This is where the sacrifice of the wife of Abraham, her name is Hajar, this is where her sacrifice comes into play. There's a story behind this. One day, Ibrahim alayhi salam was ordered to leave his wife Hajar and his newborn son Ismail in the desert alone. And once Hajar knew that this was a command from God, she knew that she would not be lost. Now obviously when you're in the desert, it gets hot, and you are going to get thirsty. And when you have a newborn baby, you're going to get thirsty pretty quick. So Ismail started crying, wanting water, and his mother didn't have any milk for him. So she's looking all over the place trying to find some water. And what she was doing was she was running frantically between 2 hills known as Safa and Marwa. She went back and forth looking for water until her son Ismail struck the earth with his foot, and God gave them a miracle in which the well of Zamzam was created. Water was gushing from the sand, gushing from the earth under Ismail, until they had enough water to quench their thirst. And Hajar was actually worried that this water was going to escape them, so she put rocks around to kind of close it off in a circle to kind of form a well. Later on, we come to learn from the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that if Hajar was to let the water flow, it would have created a river that was to go across the entire earth. So when we perform sa'i during the pilgrimage of Hajj, it is to commemorate the sacrifice of Hajar when she was running around between the two hills looking for water for her son. The last one I'll talk about before talking about sacrificing animals, and that is standing on the mountain of Arafah. And this is the essence of Hajj. This is where the Muslims stand on the Mount of Arafah for the entire day, praying to their Lord, making dua, making supplication. Their sins are forgiven and their good deeds are accepted. And this is where Muslims, if their Hajj is accepted, inshallah, they will get all of their sins completely erased. This is the beauty. This is where the true sacrifice comes in. Now, before I end the video, I want to answer that question I started off with, and that is, why do Muslims sacrifice an animal for Hajj? The reason why we sacrifice an animal is actually based on a story of Ibrahim alayhi salam and his son Ismail, where one day Ibrahim saw in his dream that he was to sacrifice his son Ismail. Now Ibrahim knew that this was a test from his Lord and it was a command, so he was going to follow through with it. And Ismail, his son, when he knew that this was coming from Allah Azza wa Jal, he was ready to submit. He was ready to accept the fact and follow through with this test. Just when Ibrahim was about to put the knife on the neck of his son for the sake of God, Allah Azza wa Jal, God sent a lamb or a sheep down, and He said, you have passed your test, you don't have to do the mission as I set it out for you. Instead, you can sacrifice this sheep, sacrifice this animal for the sake of your Lord. And because of this, every year for Hajj, millions of Muslims around the world, those that perform Hajj and those that don't perform Hajj, will sacrifice an animal, or they'll buy an animal to be sacrificed. And this isn't because we're just killing the animal as a sacrifice for our Lord. No, the food in the animal is actually completely used. The food is actually distributed to all the orphans and poor people around the world that don't have the money or the means to find food or to make food for themselves. So all of these animals that are being sacrificed are actually going to benefit the people around the world, and specifically the orphans. I hope that helps you understand a little bit more about Hajj. I hope it's a beneficial video for all. If you like this video, please remember to subscribe. I'll have a little button in the middle of the screen right here. You can also watch last week's video in the top corner over here, and I'll have a video in the bottom corner. I'll make it a random video inshallah this time. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.